Okay, so they already talked about contraception.
Yes.
That's what we're going to do. Okay?
What does it mean?
Well, that's what we're going to talk about. So first, just tell me some methods of contraception that y'all know about. Let's define contraception first. Okay, let me spell it for you. Okay, when you hear that word, what do you think of?
Babies.
Don't be afraid to say it.
Sex.
Sex, okay, yes. So that's not the definition, but yes. Maybe, what's the word that you would say in front of sex to define contraception?
Intercourse. Oh.
Yes, that's another word for sex.
Contraception. Oh.
Prevent. That's what I'm getting to. Prevent
okay.
sex.
Oh, okay.
Well, prevent pregnancy.
Okay.
That's a better
I
word.
said
Okay, so let's just say, let's call contraception prevent pregnancy, okay? Because that's what it is. Methods of contraception prevent. There, I wrote second. Prevent pregnancy, okay? So now, give me some examples of contraception.
Oh, abstinence.
Okay.
Condoms.
Strict
Condom, yeah, that's
parents.
what I say. Condom.
Birth control.
I think I'm spelling that wrong. Birth control, yes. What was another one?
Condom.
Mm-hmm.
That little, oh, well, that's a type of birth control.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Well, go ahead.
That little thing that can get injected into your arm.
Okay, it's like a shot?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's just say shot. Those are the most common ones that you probably know of. Any others that you can think of?
Strict parents.
Okay, let's put that on there. Strict parents. And maybe even, let's just say, instead of them being strict, maybe they know about your life, right? Maybe they keep up with your life, they want you to talk to them, and that's good. That means that they really care about your life.
Yeah.
They want you to make good choices, you know.
Yeah.
So, alright, so we've defined contraception. Let's define sex, because we kind of were doing that. What exactly, when sex happens, what has to happen? That was kind of a weird
The
question.
penis goes into the vagina hole.
Okay, yeah, if we're going to be real, let's just erase this, because we pretty much got that down. Because we're defining sex now. So, oh, I wanted to leave that one, that's okay. Say that again, Megan.
The penis goes into the vagina hole.
Okay, we could just call it vagina, but it is a hole, yes.
Well, I don't.
Penis, it's okay. Okay. Okay, that is a pretty general statement. What's more specific? And you were in child development last year. You remember what conception is technically defined as? That's a lot of C words, contraception and conception. Okay. So what does a penis have?
Sperm.
Sperm.
Eggs.
And the female vagina has an egg, okay? So the sperm and egg
The sperm has
unite. What were we going to say?
fertilized.
Okay, yes, the sperm fertilizes the egg, okay? So technically, this is sex, okay? When a sperm and an egg unite. Then what happens?
A baby.
Baby.
A baby is formed. If everything goes the way that it's supposed to, the sperm and the egg, nothing happens. A miscarriage can still happen right after this, which is pretty common actually, for a sperm and egg to unite, but something goes wrong and still, you know, it doesn't follow through. The baby is gone. Okay, that happens a lot. So that's what's needed to become pregnant. Now, let's talk about specific things about contraception. Okay. Remind me again what it is. What do we define it as? 2 words. Prevent pregnancy, okay? And y'all listed some, so we're going to go into a little bit more detail. Okay, who said abstinence? And you were talking about that too. Choosing not to have sex, I mean, obviously that's the easiest way to not get pregnant, right? That's the most 100% way.
Yeah.
And like, that's what I wrote on here. Provides 100% protection from STDs and preventing pregnancy, okay, when you just choose not to do that. Also, these last two things, some people might laugh at those and think that's silly, but it's true. It may encourage you to build a relationship with someone in a different way, which would be more meaningful to you maybe, and you may feel that it's right for you and makes you feel good about yourself, okay? So those may be reasons that someone chooses to be abstinent, or they know that they're not ready for that, okay, and they want to do that when they're older. And these people say a few things: because I value virginity, I don't want, okay, I don't know what she's saying. Oh, she doesn't want warts. And I want to give abstinence a second chance. Okay, so all of those are good reasons. So here's another form of contraception. Birth control pills. I'm sure some of you all know some people that take birth control pills. What do people have a hard time with
Keeping up
when they're
with- when they're
weight? Okay, some people do think that it makes them gain weight, and sometimes it does. What'd you say?
keeping up when they have to do
Yeah, they have to keep up with it. It's like a constant thing. They have to take it at the right time, the same time every day. And sometimes people just choose not to. It's easier to just forget about it. And then, do you think a lot of pregnancies happen that way?
Yes.
Probably, just because they don't want to keep up with it.
But that, if you take that and you stop and get pregnant, it won't mess up the baby or whatever?
No, I don't think so. And there's a different one that kind of talks about that in a second. It also can decrease menstrual cramps and stuff like that that women have a hard time with, and pain. And so that's a reason that some people may just take it for that, and then reduces PMS symptoms, maybe kind of helps them not feel crazy, how some women feel that way. But some birth control pills make them kind of go crazy. It maybe changes their levels a little bit, okay? Condoms, everybody knows that one, but a lot of people don't use them. And
They're not 100% preventable.
yeah, that's true. They're not 100% preventable, and if they're not careful, real careful, then they can still get pregnant. So it's obviously placed onto the penis before it comes into contact with the vagina. That's something that a lot of people think, oh, I'm fine, even if the condom gets put on at some point. Well, there's still pre-cum, right, that has sperm in it, so they could still get pregnant. It is safe and effective, and can prevent some infections, and then no prescription is needed. That is a really big deal. You don't have to go to a doctor, you don't have to get approval, the doctor doesn't have to approve, birth control pills and things like that. You can just go buy them. It's really easy, but people still choose not to, and then they end up with an unwanted pregnancy sometimes. Have y'all heard of this? Maybe you know of it as
Plan B, yeah.
Plan B. Okay, so what do y'all, tell me what that is,
I've heard of it, but not really in depth.
Okay, so the reason it's called emergency contraception is it's like, uh-oh, I had unprotected sex, and I don't think I want a baby with that person, or maybe a baby in general, and so the next day, usually it says it works best if it's taken within 24 hours, but you can take it up to a few days after you've had sex. Basically, it's a whole lot of birth control, the pill, it's a whole lot of what's in those pills, and it can help prevent pregnancy. So, see, it says up to 5 days after unprotected sex, it can prevent pregnancy. It's not a guarantee, but it can. Like I said, it contains a stronger dose of the same hormones. Works best if it's taken within 24 hours, and it does not cause an abortion. So that kind of answers what you were saying, like, if they're already pregnant, it won't affect the baby. It doesn't cause an abortion to happen, it's not. And there are pills when someone chooses to do an abortion that are not the same thing. Yeah, it's a different pill. It's not the same. Did you have a
So
question?
before the baby starts forming, it doesn't hurt it, 'cause it's still
Right.
an egg.
Right,
So it's pretty much just killing off the egg.
I don't know exactly what the hormones do when they're, but since it's early enough on, like 5 days, it's still considered a zygote, is what it's called, and so it's so early on that it, doesn't have organs yet and all this, so but again, it's not like an abortion, so it's different. All right. Another one, have y'all heard of this one? Similar to what you were saying, an injection, but this is a patch. So you can see that lightweight, thin, flexible, beige colored patch. There's different areas that women can put it on themselves, kind of on their back too, is another spot. Highly effective at preventing unintended pregnancy. Why do you think that is compared to the pill?
because some people don't have to.
Yeah, some people don't want to keep up with the pill. This is just stuck on you, and you're not having to take something every day. You keep it on for a month, I believe.
How does
Like
it
the-
work
It releases hormones like the pill, and it'll just release it into your skin, I guess, into your blood. Well, not your blood. It releases it into your skin, similar to the ring, which we'll talk about next. It's easy to use since it's applied once a week. Oh, this one's different than the ring. It's applied once a week. I thought it was on there for a month. So you do have to keep up with it a little bit differently. But it provides no protection against STDs. So unlike condoms, some people, if they were really trying to be careful, would do both, and they would know their partner and know that they're clean, they've been checked and stuff, tested. But the biggest downside, that bottom one,
Expensive.
yeah, it's expensive. Compared to a condom, nothing at all, no contraceptives or, a condom that they can just go run and get. But of course, if they're really wanting to be careful, using something like this is a good idea. And then the ring, have y'all heard of this one? So that is it. It looks just like that. It's a small, flexible device inserted into the woman's vagina. And like I said, like the patch, it releases hormones, estrogen and progestin, helps prevent menstrual cramps, menstrual symptoms similar to the other ones. Does not protect against STDs again. And this is a slight downside to it, but it can increase your risk of blood clots. So, all of these things, there are always maybe a small downside. But when you're not wanting a baby, you're not ready for a baby, all these things I think are worth it. I mean, personally, especially at y'all's age, if you can't take care of a baby yet, you want to go through the extra steps to do something like this or have something like this, Oops, go back. Ugh. Well, the last one is talking about other forms of contraception, which you might be surprised how many there are. Look at all those. That's a lot of different, that's not including the ones we just talked about that everybody knows about. Injectable contraceptives, I think, is like the one you were thinking of. Where you can, but see that one, still you have to go into a doctor's office, they inject you with the shot, you're still taking time out of your day to go, but some people like that. That helps the doctor and them keep up with it instead of them having to keep up with a ring or a patch or something, okay? So that's a lot of different contraceptives. Isn't it weird how there's so many different choices out there? It's not weird, it's kind of sad actually. But there's so many different choices, but people just choose not to use anything, and then end up with a baby that maybe they don't want, and that's sad, Okay. Questions?
About the ring,
Yeah.
I know there's different types or whatever, but most common one, how often do you have to change that out? Do you just stick it in there and you're good forever, or
No, and actually you might be thinking of a different one that was listed on there. There is, I don't know if it's called a ring of some kind, but it is something that's inserted in the woman, in the vagina. Someone I knew had this. That's the only way I know about it. But it was a 3-year thing, 3 or 4 year, that was 99% preventative type of contraception. This ring that I was talking about is a once a month thing that you have to keep up with. You put it in there once a month, similar to a tampon.
So it's pretty small.
It bends. Well, I can't go back. This is way bigger than it is, obviously not real size. It's probably more that big, but this is a flexible plastic. And the hormone is probably inside there. And so it bends, and you just kind of push it up there like you do a tampon, and then it lays against your skin.
Oh, so it goes in like this. You don't go in
No, no, it doesn't sit on there like that. No, it gets pushed in, and then the hormone is released in there. You see what I mean?
it's kind of comfortable.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So it bends like this.
Yeah, it kind of, It kind of bends. Let me show you. There's a picture of that too on the website. Do y'all have questions about some other ones? Cause, let me show you. Oh, I forgot about the videos. Here, let's watch this. This is fertilization, right? We talked about the sperm and the egg uniting. This is a video that shows that.
The race starts with the act of love. Tens of millions of spermatozoa rush ahead on a hunting trip that may eventually lead to a fateful encounter and a promise of new life. Only one can win. The rest will end their lives in a matter of days. In the marathon race to life, there are no consolation prizes. Only one winner will merge with the ovule. The sperm move forward by wriggling their tails through the dangerous obstacle track, the acidity in the vagina, the cervix and the uterus.
That's millions of sperm. That's this
The
is totally
obstacles
accurate.
claim many lives. The slow and weak give up. Others go off track, misdirection, or get trapped. The road separates into two fallopian tubes, but there is an ovule waiting in only one of them. Not only stamina and talent count, this journey also requires a lot of luck.
See how
Strong
few there
currents
are,
prevent the
the farther
sperm
it
from
goes.
continuing forward. The follicles on the uterine wall capture many and hold them back.
I know it seems like that's hair, but those really are. This is zoomed in,
Finally,
obviously.
at the end of the tunnel, like a mysterious star, the ovule. The sperm attack is merciless. A sperm cell carries a mysterious load. Each can create a unique human being unlike any other in the world. Now, there are only about 100 sperm left competing for the ovule, but only one will make it through the ovule's protective layer. In their final efforts, one suddenly manages to penetrate. It is the winner. After the ovule is pierced, it hardens and becomes impermeable. For the rest of the sperm, the journey has ended in failure. For the winner, it is the beginning. It sheds its now unnecessary tail and load and is free.
So that's where
The father's genetic material merges with
The
the
plan
mother's.
B pill, yeah, would probably be within this time and the next day or so, because this is still probably
A new and unique
within
cell
24
is
hours of
created,
conception. This is
the fertilized ovule. At this moment, almost all of the future baby's features are determined and fetal development begins.
That's still when it's a zygote. That's crazy, huh? The
I can't
videos.
believe I won the race. Like,
I know,
it's
right?
so weird. Like,
That's why it's called the miracle of life, really,
that's
because
so crazy.
everyone.
We won,
yes.
guys. We're so lucky.
Yeah, really. That's totally accurate. Everyone
So
won.
does the rest of the sperm kind of like die off?
Yes, yes.
Those are my bro and sisters. Sorry, they're coming
Y'all were wanting to know, yeah, see, that's, it just kind of bends like that, the ring. If y'all want a really good picture of it, that is where it's inserted. See what
So, this is
So-
gonna sound kinda like stupid.
No, it's okay.
You know how like it said like one little egg
Mm-hmm.
or sperm thing unites the egg What if there's like twins? Does like one of the sperm just like break off as two, or is it like two sperms? Or
Okay. Identical twins, there are 2 eggs. Sometimes a woman, which is why it's usually genetic, if a woman releases 2 eggs in there, which is not very common, you know, but she could have 2 eggs in there, and if 2 sperm, I'm sorry, that's when they're not identical. When 2 separate eggs and 2 sperm go to those eggs, okay? That's when they don't look the same, right? When 2 people look different a little bit. When they're identical, 1 sperm goes to the egg like you saw, and then it splits. The egg splits, which is also why that would be genetic, because they're identical and the egg does that on its own, which doesn't happen every time. Okay, one more video, and this kind of jumps ahead, but we're just kind of jump right to labor, and this is not near as graphic as some videos I show, but this one is labor and birth, and it, again, it's very accurate, but it's still not quite scary, okay? It's not as scary as some people think.
In the weeks before birth, your body slows down production of the hormone progesterone, increasing production of other hormones, including prostaglandins, which soften the cervix, and oxytocin, which triggers the uterine muscles to contract. True labor contractions are rhythmic and painful and grow consistently stronger. As the long vertical muscle bands of the uterus tighten, they pull the cervix open. The strong muscles at the top of the uterus push down and release,
So right here is the
baby
vagina.
toward the cervix. The mucus plug, a collection of thickened cervical
You guys
see
mucus
the
that
hole?
sealed your cervix shut
This
for
is where the
9
baby's,
months, may be expelled days before or in the
the
midst of
mucus
labor.
plug is not the
When
same
the
as the water
amniotic sac
breaking.
ruptures, your water has broken.
That's the water
You
breaking.
can feel like a
so
trickle
the water
or a
breaking,
gush of
that's like
fluid.
all the thing that's in the.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Your cervix will begin opening and thinning, known as dilation and
This
effacement.
is when people are in
Once you
pain.
reach about 4
Mm.
centimeters, your body
Opening.
will move into active labor. In active labor, contractions become stronger and closer together. At 8 centimeters, you enter what many consider the most painful part of labor, transition. By 10 centimeters, you're fully dilated and may feel the urge to push. This is your signal that the second stage of labor has begun. Your baby will move down with each contraction. The 3 separate soft bones of his head will temporarily overlap so he can pass through the snug birth canal.
That's why their
Your
head is so
baby's
soft.
scalp will come into view. When the widest part of his head is visible, your baby is crowning. With several more pushes, your baby's face, shoulders, and body will emerge. In the third and final stage of labor, your placenta detaches and is expelled. With your baby's first breath, the incredible journey of birth is complete.
It's pretty crazy, huh?
So like, do the doctors like pull them out, or they just like?
I mean, the doctor kind of has to, you know, encourage out.
And they grab up on the head?
Yeah, sometimes, you know, my picture's over here, there's a forceps. Sometimes they have to use a tool, and sometimes the head has markings, but it kind of goes away. Just depends.
Your first breath. Your first breath.
Okay. Well, y'all have been such a good audience. Y'all have more questions about anything? Awesome.